What's a timberman want with being a wiki?
There are a dozen ways to interpret The Lighthouse, as a story about isolation, as an alcohol and turpentine-fueled descent into madness, as a metaphor for myth or purgatory. And perhaps it's all of those things. But regardless of interpretation, the film asks everyone who watches it a question. What happens when a man tries to outrun his own guilt and ends up face to face with it? The film doesn't explain itself, yet it silently judges. Every frame is a question with no answer, a spiral without an exit. Is it a story about madness or about judgment? Two men arrive at the edge of the world. We are told their names are Wake and Winslow. One is there to watch the light, the other to do the work. One man knows the rules, and the other brings his very own book of judgment. The island runs on obedience, and the light is its higher power. Only one man is allowed to serve. The other can only climb slowly towards it. One staircase, one shovel, one humiliation at a time. Within the first moments on the island, the film speaks to us. Not in words, but in images. As these two men arrive, we see the previous two lightkeepers leaving the island, and as they do so, they are helping each other and walking together as equals. Our two characters are separated, each one carrying his own burden. One walks in front of the other. Visually, the power struggle is already established. Wake looks calm, Winslow uneasy. They're watching the boat leave, but they're also staring at us, as if we too are trapped on this island, as if we're the ones being judged.
You hear me, lad?
The Lighthouse is full of visual cues. During the first scene in the bedroom, Winslow bumps his head and Wake farts. One man feels uneasy, the other completely at home. The bedroom is also completely symmetrical. The column between them splits the frame as a quiet line of division. At dinner, Wake's plate is steaming hot while Winslow's looks lukewarm. Wake tends the light, he is above, and Winslow is below. Winslow is always climbing. Stairs, ladders, anything that needs fixing. He strains upward. Wake, by contrast, is already there. We almost never see him climb. There's only one quick shot before he seals the hatch above, alone with the light, naked and unashamed. He rejoices in the light's presence with nothing to hide. When Winslow tends to the cistern, a spiral forms, mirroring the lighthouse's spiraling staircase. His subconscious is already climbing, or perhaps spiraling out of control. Winslow shows up on the island ready to play by the rules. He's read the manual, follows instructions, and keeps to himself, for the most part. But the rules on this island aren't written in any old book. They're spoken in curses, toasts, and superstitions. Divine laws disguised as old sailor tales.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
The more of these rules Winslow breaks, the worse things get. The storm doesn't stop, and the boat never comes. Slowly, he begins to despise being obedient, which is understandable due to Wake's unreasonable demands. He becomes resentful and doesn't want to obey anymore. He wants access to the light. But as the film eventually reveals, he wants something deeper than that. He wants to move on from his past without being condemned. Eventually, Winslow breaks every rule given to him by the authority figure, the man who guards the light. And maybe that's why he fails, not because of madness, but because of pride. He doesn't want to serve, he wants to rise, to be seen as an equal, or better. But the island doesn't reward ambition, it punishes defiance. Wake is oppressive, yes, but maybe that's the point. The island tests him and his composure. This is his temptation to rebel against his judge. When Winslow kills the seagull, the camera pans to the lighthouse and begins to rise as the wind changes direction. His actions are being judged from above, and now there will be consequences. Wake also keeps a little book, a ledger documenting Winslow's behavior. Like a god, he watches, writes, and judges.
Are you trying to ruin me?
Even their names hint at something deeper. Ephraim Winslow is the name Pattinson's character adopts to escape who he used to be, but it's revealed both men are named Thomas, as if the island has drawn together two sides of the same self. Wake becomes a reflection of Winslow's buried past, refusing to be ignored. Even his name, Wake, might be a reference to waking up to what he's tried to bury. Winslow may not have killed his foreman, but he definitely left him to die. He flirts with confession, then rejects it until he finally cracks. His real name, the murder, the truth, it all spills out. But it's not an apology, it's a purge. Not to be forgiven, but to be free. As if simply naming the crime could earn him the light. But truth isn't redemption, and confession isn't absolution, not on this rock. Once the light sees through him, there's no turning back. He tries to flee, not just the island, but the judgment now burning inside of him. But the island won't let him go. He hasn't faced everything yet. That's why the boat is destroyed by Wake, by his past, by himself, by the very conscience he is trying to destroy. When Winslow buries Wake, he's attempting to kill the witness, the judge, the man who wrote everything down, watched, and judged him. He is rebelling himself against the figure who will define his fate. He is attempting to bury the past. But the island doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive. The light still waits. He finally climbs up the spiraling stairs. No more toasts, no more orders, no more waiting. And for the first time, he sees the light, or rather, the light sees him. He is inspected by the ultimate judge, but it doesn't welcome him. It doesn't absolve him. It destroys him and leaves him to suffer for all of eternity. His punishment? Facing his guilt and realizing it will forever define him. What did he see in the light? God? Truth? Himself? Perhaps nothing at all. Whatever it is he saw in that light, he was not ready for it. Silently, the light punishes him. Maybe it was madness. Maybe it was guilt or judgment, or all of it. But the light never explains. It just watches. And when it sees him for who he really is, well, perhaps that's the most terrifying thing of all.
Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow! Hark! Hark! Triton,